Everything look good? That looks alright? Yeah, microphone's good. Cool. So today what we are doing is we are creating solutions. Solutions for two different problems that you didn't even know were problems. But as we're building stuff, it's important to go along the way and think if you're satisfied with something, and if you're not satisfied with something that you did previously, there's nothing wrong with changing it along the way. The build, you can make changes the entire time, and that's what we're doing right now. Addressing a problem with a solution that you didn't even know was a problem. And you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. We're getting a little crazy with some seats today.
And now, you're watching the backfire, blow by, and backsplash are three things you never want to experience on a porta potty channel of YouTube. Welcome to Bodie Vision.
Hey, so what is up and welcome, what's happening? So glad you got to see me again. Does that make any sense? Anyway, so like I said, today we are addressing a problem, and one of those problems was with these red Recaros. I'm not exactly satisfied. I'm not exactly satisfied with them inside of the 1988 Honda Accord. I think they're a little bit too big. The footprint just takes up too much space, and that creates another problem. Is those seats, I stole them out of Project Pepto, this car, and right here I just have this stock seat sitting in here for time being, but then I put the other one back already, and they already match the rear seats Elite. So those seats, they need to go back. And that leaves me with a problem of what seats am I gonna go ahead and put in this car. So I was starting to think what's gonna be error correct, appropriate, go with the full build, what's gonna go with my style, what do I like? And that brought me to the conclusion of I wanna put some kind of a bomber seat in there, because with the louvers, just the whole style, LS swap, kind of in a homage to an American style, I wanna go with a bomber seat. So that's what I got right here, super cool. But now that's just a seat that I ordered online, and I'm not cool with just putting anything that you order online, anything that anybody else can have. So I gotta take this raw seat as just the base or the foundation and then build on it from here to truly make it my own. We're working with the 1988 Honda Accord, and we're working with the pink Acura Integra. So the first thing that we have to consider is how is the car currently set up. So the Integra is a DC2, so it needs a DC2 rail. The seats that I bought for the car, they were DC5 seats, so that gave me an extra set of DC5 rails because I had to build custom DC2 rails for the Integra for the DC5 seats to go in the car. So the DC5 seats had to go on DC2 rails. So now I had an extra set of DC5 rails, so I made the Accord's rails custom so that way they would receive a DC5 rail, meaning the bomber seat needs to have the DC5 rails mounted on it in order to work in the Accord, and the DC5 seats need to have the DC2 rails on it in order to go in the Integra. So what we got to do, take the bomber seat over there, got the DC5 rail sitting in the Accord. I want to sit it on there, see where it sits, figure out where I got to drill my holes, and then mount it to those rails. So everything in the end is going to be all good. Bomber seat's going to be in the Accord. DC5 seats are going to be in the Integra, right? Yeah. So this rail right here, this is just the DC5 rail. So that's what's going to fit in here. Now all we got to do is adapt and make the bomber seat go onto here. So if you can see, this hole I drilled right there, that hole I drilled right there, that actually goes right with these holes that are right there that I drilled. This is really easy, simple, self-explanatory. That hole there, that hole there. So if we take this seat, walk it over here, sit that in the car nice and gently because we care about stuff around here. So that hole lines up over there. So we got those two holes to line up. We're gonna have to do two more over here. And honestly, with this video, I don't wanna focus on mounting the seats because that's super self-explanatory. I wanna focus on how I'm gonna make these seats custom and make them my own and get them to be pretty wild and nice. And I know that you're gonna like them. I know I'm gonna like them. But with these seats, I gotta focus on two things in order to make them my own. I gotta focus on the functionality, meaning how comfortable they're gonna be. Also the aesthetics, how they're gonna look. So I'm working on the cars over there. This side is the paint side, so in order to address these seats, we gotta go ahead and go over to the upholstery division. Alrighty, now here we go. So what I got right here is we got my hide, real, legit leather. I think this is gonna be perfect for the car. It's gonna match the entire interior really well because there's a whole bunch of brown things already going on. So like I said, I needed a little bit of leather. Just wanted to go ahead and go with the whole hide because I think stuff like that is really cool. So what I'm thinking is with this seat, I wanna put some slats, a slat right here, slat right there, there, full slat this way, obviously a full cushion for the bottom. And at this point, I've already done a lot of talking. Let's just get into working. Alright, so what we have here, this is one of the 9 pieces. There's 4 on the bottom, 5 in the back. The back are a little bit smaller, but they're the same process for each of them. So I just went ahead and I glued it down. And this is essentially what we're left with. And then we just have this. We're gonna go ahead and wrap some batting around it. That'll be just a extra little layer of cushion. And this is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just wrap it around, pull it over, and staple it down. So this is what we have now, and again, the batting's just gonna make it a little bit more plush. Now the leather, the hide that I showed you earlier, I just laid that out on the floor, and then we had a piece like this, and then I cut it based on how big this is, meaning I rolled over each of the edge, and I had to consider the fact, or I had to remember that this wants to come over, or that I want this to come over just a little bit right there, and then the same on this side. And if you do this a little bit extra, you can always trim it. If you don't do it enough, you're gonna have problems. So right away, just as I'm laying it out, stretching it out, you can see how it's gonna look. Nice and plush, really good looking. And this is just, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You're gonna have to play with it a little bit as you go. The main thing I'd focus on is just making sure that it's nice, even, and you're gonna wanna make it as tight as you can possibly get it without over stretching the leather. So I just work from the inside or from the middle, and then I work my way out. So as you're doing the first one, it's not so important to pull it tight, because as you're doing the second one, that's where you can really make sure that you got it tight and nice looking, just like that. I'm definitely happy with that. So again, starting at the middle, then working my way out. So after it gets all stapled down, this is what we're looking at, a nice plump cushion. Everything's tight, there's no wrinkles in it. It looks really good. So now I just got 8 more pieces to go per seat, 16 total plus 17 of this one on the other seat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get busy, and then the next flip, we're just gonna check in and see how they look on the seats. Now that I have all of the pieces made, everything's laid out, this is exactly how it's going to sit. This is the butt portion of the seat. Now, since this is genuine leather, I want to make sure that I'm going to be taking care of it, hydrating it, protecting it, because people are going to be sweating on these seats. The chances are there's going to be some kinds of water droplets or anything if anybody gets a drink through a drive-through. Just, you know how it is, we want to make sure that we're going to be protecting this leather because this stuff was a little bit expensive, but it should be a lot more durable. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and oil it. I'm just going to use some mink oil. And this is just a piece that I tested on, and you can actually see how this lower one is a little bit darker, and if you can feel it, I know you can't feel it, but it's a lot more, it just feels a lot more rejuvenated, hydrated as you're pulling it out. It just helps it. You know, this is what people put on work boots. This is what I actually put on my work boots. It's just some mink oil, and it's gonna protect the leather. So I'm just gonna go ahead, rub a good layer on there, let it soak out in the sun so that way it can soak into the leather, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it off one last time so that way it's not gonna get on your clothes, and that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, so I pulled the car out. I wanted to let it warm up a little bit because it's a chilly 60 degrees right now in Florida. I know if you're up north, it is a lot worse, but enough about the weather. These seats, dude, with this car, the way the brown matches with the door panels and everything else. And my main gripe with the other seats is how much they got in the way as you're looking at the car. But now these ones, these are phenomenal. You can see all the way through. These are nice and comfortable. I really like them. I was a little bit worried how I would feel about how the back feels. You know, I just went with a pattern that looked nice, and I didn't really think too much about how it was going to be placed on your back, but overall, I'll have to let you know after I do a long road trip. So these seats, just taking some bomber seats, doing a little bit of things to them to make them my own. No sewing required whatsoever, just a little bit of leather, some foam, some wood, some batting, and a little bit of time, and they look really good. So let me know what you guys think about them. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video, comment, subscribe. You know what it is, YouTube. I'll see you on the next one. Dude, I'm excited about this one. I'm out.